It's so good to have you back on Molif Media School channel. I am Ife Aron Okafo, and this is the last in our series, Things I Wish I Knew Before I Started My Broadcasting Career. And this is about time and practice. And there's something I added to it in the course of developing this particular item. I said practice culture. Yeah, because broadcasting on the whole is life. It is a journey. It is not something you start today and you stop tomorrow and you expect to grow. No, it's something that you actively do every other day of your life. And that is why you find that lots of older broadcasters, even when they've retired, possibly those in the civil service, you find that they somehow find a way to still consult in the media industry. And that's because it becomes part of your life, and any day that you're not part of production, you feel like, oh, something is missing. Yeah, so I do not foresee any day when I would just not be a broadcaster and I'm doing something else. No matter what I do, as an extra, say I decide that I want to make more money, and I think that broadcasting isn't necessarily paying all my bills as it should, and I decide to do something else, it will just be as an addition and not that I'm quitting broadcasting. No, you don't quit your life, do you? So that is why I will always go back to the first point in this series. It's simplistic, prior decision, but then it borders on each item that I have shared with you all this while. It borders on each one of them. If you made a prior decision, then you will walk the talk and have a fantastic broadcasting journey. But without that firm decision, you're going to struggle throughout. So now time must pass on all that you do, from when you make that prior decision to when you become an intern, to when you actually become a full-time broadcaster on full pay, and then possibly throughout your journey. Time must pass on you for you to get a hang of it, for you to understand your place, your unique place in the profession. Recently in Anambra State, two persons from ABS that are well known in Oka, Anambra State and its environs were appointed commissioners in the Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo ESCO. And that tells you that there's promise for people who take the profession seriously, even when it seems like, oh, their time, they're no longer contemporary, they're now older. I'm referring to Comrade Don Onyenji and Ife Obinabo. Now, these are veteran broadcasters who worked in ABS, for a long time. Way back in the days, we grew up listening to them. And now they are both commissioners under Professor Chukwuma Soludo in Anambra. That tells a lot about how much they contributed to the growth of the profession, and that there is a reward usually for broadcasters who take their craft seriously. And now that brings me as well to talk about the culture of practice that every broadcaster must have. It is actually one of the characteristics of an ideal broadcaster. Practice, in this sense, starts from when you are still aspiring to be a broadcaster. You have to give a lot of time to practice. When I was starting out, I would wake up in the middle of the night to read news scripts. I'm not talking of proper news scripts. Newspapers were my news scripts at that time. I would wake up, light a candle, and start voicing. And my mom thought I was going local at that time. Sometimes I would just automatically decide to do a show on the spur of the moment. I would start talking. In the afternoon, I'll start talking, or I'm with somebody and I decide to just interview the person or anything. Sometimes I would interview my dad way back. So those are the things. I was spontaneous. I wanted to practice. Then a lot of times I would also record myself doing all those things and then listen back to how I sounded. So all of these things, people will think you're going crazy. Yes, because if you really want to be in front of the camera, you have to do a lot of talking, and sometimes you don't have that solitude, you don't have that privilege of being in a place all alone, so you have to be around people, and then they may misunderstand you except they know where you're headed. There's also constant practice leading up to when you become an intern at a proper media house. And then after a while, they absorb you perhaps, or you just get a job directly, and then you start actual practice. There is prior practice, which is what I talked about before you ever start working, or just when the passion is just pushing you and you're believing, oh, I can ace this, I can do this, oh, bring on the audition, let me smash things, let me do great, so that's prior practice. And then there is practice when you have started the profession, practice on the job. That is proper practice. So during this time, you're actually doing the job, and when you do things wrongly, people you call your attention, and you're supposed to quietly acknowledge when you're wrong and take corrections. A lot of things that you will learn will have to do with elocution, and then learning proper research culture. In some places you actually have researchers. If you have the privilege of having a producer, which doesn't really work so well in some of the places I've seen, sometimes you have to be your producer, your everything, so all of those things, you learn the culture, you learn the ethics of the profession, you learn everything about how to package your show and how to present yourself. All of these are part of proper actual practice, and that is why we have modules here at Molev Media School for you to learn how to launch yourself in actual practice. And then practice is not necessarily just when you're working for someone. For some people, it's having their own YouTube channel, it's having their own channel, say on WhatsApp, media online. It's just doing their own thing the way they want it. So it depends on what you want. And now, of course, it's also about what you want out of it. For some people, it's because they want it to be profitable, but usually media may not be profitable from the beginning. You have to build movement around your brand and do a lot of things. So we'll talk about profitability subsequently, how you can do stuff and then earn from being a broadcaster, whether you're in private practice or you're working for a brand. And you are a brand with what I mean by working for a brand is being a brand within a bigger brand. Okay, now that's basically it about time and practice. So do well to allow time pass on your craft, because the more time passes, the more you're practicing. You don't just let time pass without doing anything. Definitely you won't reap anything if you just allow time pass without making any effort. But if you're making constant effort, directed efforts, like following what we're doing here on Molev Media School, rather than saying allowing time, I would say utilizing time, because utilizing time means you're actually doing something as time passes. So it's important for you to do all of these things and launch yourself for a fantastic and beautiful, fulfilling, rewarding broadcasting career. So I will do a different video to prepare us for possible auditions. By the time we have done 1 or 2 actual models, we'll look at what to know before you step into the audition studio. Get ready, click on the subscribe bell down below and get ready to receive more videos, training videos here on Molev Media School. My name is Ife Aronwo Kafo. Thanks for watching and keep living the